West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa. West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa. West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa.
The deadline day of the Uganda Premier League, of course, transfers, let's say Uganda transfers, ended at exactly 11:59. And that is where everyone was talking about whether clubs have signed players or they have not. Around 1,055 players transfers were sent into, that is the TMS of FUFA. But a lot has happened. 166 were by 6:30 submitted. And of course, how many have been registered? How many have been registered? New entrants were around 1,005 in that very manner. Now, let's start this with a big story. My name is Owen, and of course, I have Oscar in the studios with me. Oscar, a lot of things have happened. We said the transfer deadline day, couple of names have gone, and one of the biggest names is Senkatuka coming back to join, of course, his former club in there. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon to you, and I believe it's one of the best things that always happens to me when it gets to Ugandan football. I'm quite sure that too many players would never secure a club.
Sure.
And the question would be, will they go to the regional league, or where will they go to? Or they go to the fourth division? We'll wait to see how this is actually going to unfold. But I must say, happy birthday to some of the greatest names. Ronaldo Dalima is making 45 years today. Emmanuel Petit, 51. Those are very interesting names. Thiago Silva, 37. We have Harry Kewell, former Liverpool midfield and Leeds player. He was sacked recently with the club. I don't know what the way he's celebrating his birthday. He's actually aged 43. And of course, a couple of others alongside Martin Skettenberg. He was a goalkeeper with Sunderland and Norwich City, including also Everton. He's making 39 years today. A very interesting day.
Now, just like talked about in this, you look at everything. The man you mentioned in there was Thiago Silva. He was in, that is the player of the week, EPL player of the week, and very good. Probably happy birthday from West Nile TV, the whistle time, to you, Thiago Silva. And of course, I know that is how Andy Opingopi can be happy, because he's a Chelsea fan, and of course I feel this in there. But of course, let's start with the transfers immediately and look at currently. We've just talked about, I had a copy of the list of players who have, not a list, but of course number of players who succeeded, who transfers were sent, and of course we're waiting for today's review from the federation, how many went through and how many did not succeed. But of course, couple of names. Let's start with West Nile. You've seen very many names who are not going to be making it into, that is the clubs, because we have not seen them maybe unveiled anywhere. We have not had rumors about them in there. Can these players now, of course, in fact, let's say, what can they do? Because can they get any regional league player, just like you said, the FIFA Big League of 5th division, which is uncertain. Maybe it may not be played, it may play, because this is Uganda.
Well, it brings in a very interesting discussion, especially when you look at players from West Nile. I must say the likes of Simba Sabir, I'm quite sure he didn't get a club. And then you have the likes of Andama Sabir. These are players that we were talking about.
Makosa
Andama Makosa, then alongside his brother, and a couple of other names that would actually, I think we cannot mention all of them, but we just look at the case study, we look at it as some of the names. But when you look at this, I think it gets down to preparation and planning. If you are released by, sometimes also some clubs don't release players ahead of time.
Yeah.
But there are some players who are released ahead of time. For all this while, what were you doing? Because if you still think your career is active, you're supposed to be making an effort, and that's where now having an agent is very important. Playing with a purpose is very important, because I am playing, I want to get I should be going somewhere. But majority of the players whose names we have mentioned, they never saw themselves beyond the clubs they are playing in.
Just like, let's start with under Masabir Lelu. He is one player whom even Calvary wanted, because he has been in the system of Calvary, telling him to come for training when they called him back. He still stepped back. But after quite a long time, one day too, that is the day. That's when now he had to start getting some other people. I'm ready to go. Send me transport. CEO, send me transport, I go. And this is where now things have come in there. You're seeing such a player on the D-Day. It was just the day before yesterday that this player was given a release letter. Where do you start from? And where do you really get in there? So, such players, you would maybe say, what could be the problem with such a player? Because you've seen, you have everything, you have in the system, they call you back, but you refuse to go. What were they thinking? Is it still attributed to the other thing you keep talking? People think about sign-on fee?
Yes, it comes to, let's zero it down to lack of professionalism. We were here talking about how were the players prepared enough to take on professional football as a profession in their career. I don't think they were really prepared. Because if you are in the system of a club, let's say Calvary, in the case of Under Masabir, you are in that system. The club is calling you to report for training. And you still think there's some other issue that's supposed to be sorted. And that's always what gets down to sign-on fee. It could be that his sign-on fee was not yet set. But again, you are in the system of this club. So there are some things that can best be handled with the club at a managerial level. But it should not affect you as a player professionally. Now look at the state that is in. And the day, or the D-Day, where he's supposed to actually be now confirming, or they are supposed to be unveiling him again as the player, they're actually giving him a termination letter. Now, at this point in time, which club is he going to get? Can he go to South Sudan? Can he run to B52 in DR Congo? Which club can he go to? Or can he immediately be looking at going to play for regional league clubs? Will he be going to Onama to say, let me play for Arua Soccer Academy? I mean, these kind of things that are really very uncalled for. Absolute lack of professionalism in football. And that's why we're saying it's very important for football to develop with all stakeholders getting engaged and all stakeholders empowered. I must say, our agents are not empowered. And our agents don't take things seriously. Just take it, for example, if Under Masabir was under an agent, it will be the responsibility of an agent to push this player, go back, because some other things we can handle with the club. It is not you to negotiate all of these things. You
just to cut you short, the current agent I know is Habib, just like I did. Yes. I keep telling you, he had one-on-one with Under Masabir, and Under Masabir gave him no chance to discuss such an issue.
And that is where it gets to me, unprofessionalism. It has already got it deep into players. Because if a young player, as young as he is, he's now going to find himself without a club in the top tier, or the first tier, or the second tier. It gets very, very disappointing.
I remember Nduparaka called for him for the second chance.
It's so disappointing for me that he's not going to be playing. And again, as a player, there should be one importance why you really want to get with an agent. You're supposed to know that the agent is going to negotiate everything on my behalf. So everything is going to start and stop with the agent. Mine is just to tell the agent, this is what I want. Or the agent is supposed to come and tell me, yes, you see, this offer is good for you. You can take on this because I see future in it. You can have a chance to play regularly. You can have a chance to better your career. Maybe after here, you can think of going anywhere. But do your best. We shall find a club for you. So it's actually one of the most disappointing things in Western. We are still lagging behind.
Few things for you to make sure that you become very active, although you're not going to be in the football system. But one is fitness. 2, you need to be engaged in open trials. Then 3, you need to keep your body and
discipline and commitment.
And then discipline. What are these players going to do? Because right now, do you think they will still do that? Because you need to keep fit. You need to look for clubs that are going to be having trials where you are going to be visible. And this is one thing in West Nile, that when it is off season, you see how players go. They do other things. They play cards. They do other things. They are not keeping fit. Can these players here, without clubs, still get that chance? Because these at least 3 requirements, will they implement it in their system?
Well, I think it's now a very, very big challenge for them. You need to know that you have to keep fit. Keeping fit, can you train on your own and be fit? you need for you to actually sell, you need to have being fit is one thing, and you're on the other side having consistency in the way you play, and you can't do that without getting a club. So the only available option would be waiting to register with the regional league clubs, and you see how you start from Uganda Premier League, you come to FUFA Big League,
and that's one thing they don't want.
Finding yourself in the regional in a regional league club. And if you don't want, then that is the beginning of the end of
your career.
For your career. Because there is no way any club is going to come for you till January to wait for you when you're not playing actively. You're not training actively. I don't think that is practical enough. Let them let go of their pride, because it's now a moment of them to sit down, reflect on themselves and try to see where they went wrong and just start a new beginning, making sure that wherever they will be playing, they should have consistency, and they should be targeting that by January they should have attracted many clubs that can actually be vying to come for their signature. Or else, I think there's actually doom for them.
Some of the popular clubs in the region includes the Black Angels, that is still going to be playing in the regional league. And then, of course, you can talk about the Arua Soccer Academies, who are also still going to be playing in the regional league, and others to mention in there. Maybe Arua City is one of the teams that is so near for this. But of course, Nebi Hot Spring is also still in the system. You can still go Papachi Youngster. These are some of the regional league clubs. And you make sure, get into that, everything will be okay. What has this told the players and of course the coach, the clubs in of course on the deadline day?
Well, this is a very big lesson for us to learn, all the stakeholders in football. I'll start with the players. The players will have to know that you don't do things your way. There are rules that are set, whether you are a star, whether you are yet a star in the making or you're already a star. There are rules that you have to follow. The deadline day is this, and when a club wants you, it's high time. In fact, you need to start negotiating fast. You negotiate and you finish things from there, and then that will give you a time so that after signing, you can have your own time. Now, the moment you sign with a club, you are not existing on your own. You're under that club. The club has its rules and regulations. If the rules say you report for training on this day, you do it. You're no longer on your own. You have already committed yourself that you're going to be under a club. That is discipline. You have to do that. And then to the clubs, engagement with the players need to start early. You don't need to do panic signings. I know of a club who, because they were running out of time, came to a player. Okay, you first sign, then we shall negotiate afterwards. That's again unprofessional for me. Everything that's about contract and negotiation need to be done. When somebody is putting pen to paper to commit himself, you get to know that everything should have been done, from the sign-on fee and everything should actually be done. So it's an eye-opener that we need to start doing things differently.
Now, of course, a very big one, as we are taking a break in there, clubs need to get ready, because if I talk right now, you're going to be seeing that some clubs, even up to now, everyone has not known whether they have released or they have not, because official communication hasn't come in there, and some players also are unaware whether they are released or they are not, but of course they are not getting themselves in the training sessions. Let's take a break. We'll be coming back to give you more about the sports. The 40-year-old Samuel Eto'o is the one we're coming to talk up next, because he has that, he is trying so much to see that he becomes of course the FA president of Cameroon. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that break, and it's still the Whistle Time on West Nile TV, channel 477, and of course we're streaming live on our YouTube. You can also follow us on our Twitter at West Nile TV and the Facebook platform. Just become part of us, and you get updates every time we give you this. But of course, we're still in the studios with Oscar, the Brazilian, who of course has everything it takes to be the best analyst in the region and of course in the country. Now let's start with the big story coming in from the Cameroon side. A 40-year-old, of course, former Barcelona player you could talk about, Samuel Eto'o, is in contention for that is the big game, and of course wants to become the FA president of course, or the federation of the federation president of Cameroon. It's a very big one. Someone will be asking, is he ready? Is everything okay? Will he manage? Now let me turn the focus back to Oscar, the Brazilian. Is it a very good move for the Cameroonian Samuel Eto'o?
Well, I think it's one of the best things that will happen to Cameroon. By the way, Cameroon has had a history. The acting FIFA president, you remember at the time when FBI raided the headquarters of FIFA, and Sepp Blatter was taken, in fact, was suspended on issues of corruption and other things. The person who stepped in acting position as FIFA president was Issa Hayatou. He was the former CAF president. So he was actually put on interim basis. He acted, and he was a Cameroonian. So Cameroon has actually had a history, and they have had a landmark of having people who have been gifted, who have actually pushed the federation of, in fact, CAF to another level. And by then, Issa Hayatou was also the president of the Cameroonian Football Association, which to me is a plus. And to have a person in the shape of Samuel Eto'o coming in, it's like telling me Didier Drogba is coming to Cote d'Ivoire, which is a good thing. You remember the incident of Michel Platini before also issues of allegations of corruption came in. He also was handling UEFA before Alexander Seferin came in. So to me, it will be a good thing. Why? Because Samuel Eto'o, his branding, he speaks for itself. He will not be failing to even to get sponsors. He will have goodwill wherever you actually be going to lobby. Will have a goodwill from all stakeholders. People would want to associate with Samuel Eto'o, and I think that will be a plus for the development of football in Cameroon. I would love to see the Cameroonian league taken to that level where South African league has actually reached, with a nice infrastructure. They have actually previously also hosted the AFCON. They should be having good infrastructure. They should be having the ability to attract so many good players. So I think having a figure like Samuel Eto'o will be good. One, again, for him to give back to the community, his level of experience, to come back and try to share, inspire the players, inspire all other stakeholders that they could actually, as well, do it. If he did it at Real Madrid, at Barcelona, and across Europe, he did it. So many young players as well can draw inspiration from that. So to me, I think it will be a good thing for him to come on board, and it all depends. You remember, not all people who are popular make it. Whereas Son contested as an MP in TRA Congo and failed. James Kennedy did that fail. Uncle Nyax did that fail. So it's not a guarantee.
Anyway, of course, a very big one. Now, as I talk right now, Cameroon lies 32nd on that is the African continent rating, and of course, in the FIFA ranking, Cameroon lies 58th. Would we see that drop if this former player gets into as a coach? Because we are seeing how he could be making in there. He has everything it takes to become a president. If he becomes, he has got the knowledge from all over. He has been in Qatar, Paris, in England, and he has known a lot. Could he change something and maybe make Cameroon better when he takes as a president?
Well, I think he will definitely do that because of, just like I said, his goodwill. Let's just say how many people would want to identify with Denis Oboa. I know his father was once the FIFA president. But again, his level of achievement, I think there are very few players from Uganda who went at the level that he has actually gone to. maybe the likes of Ibrahim Sekaja, the likes of Andrew Mwesigwa, the likes of I didn't see much more from Hassan Obiru, but I think if you talk of if you talk of Northern Uganda, I don't think there's anybody who has actually ever done that more than him. Playing for Hearts in Scotland, playing in South Africa. I mean, that was a plus for me, and I believe when such a figure comes on board, everyone would want to identify with. Which analyst do you think SuperSport can come and pick from Uganda? Because they all look at the pedigree, they look at your level of followership. Obviously, Obua will stand out, and that's why AFCON and all other things, they always pick him. So to get to the issue of Samuel Eto'o, it will be a good thing. Though it's not a guarantee that his administration can entirely actually succeed the way he actually did in his playing career. But we also give it a chance that he will come with a lot of exposure. He will come with a lot of connections. He has built a lot of network that can actually be used to develop football within Cameroon and all of Africa.
Now, before we get off there, we have 2 or 3 names we want to talk about in the transfer of Uganda before we cross over to international stories. And one of them is the name, of course, Moses Aliro, who has been with KCCA Football Club, now crossed over to Wakiso Giants. And then, of course, Senkatuka, who has, of course, been playing his stint at Morocco, also came back and went back to his former club, Bright Stars in there. And now, Nduparaka Football Club have also come on board to confirm that they are going to be unveiling more players today because yesterday was the last day that they were finishing paperwork with some of the players and more are yet to come in there. We did see Rural Hill Sports Club also unveil players that are going to be, of course, playing for the team this very season. But let's start with Aliro. Is he a very good addition into the team of Wakiso Giants this season?
Yeah, you're coming in from a winning team. You're coming from KCCA. You're coming from a team that has played at the top level. I think it will be a very good addition. But still, just like I've been saying, it's never a guarantee that a player can succeed, a player can take the club to the next level. It all comes down to which type of players are they going to be flanking him. Is he going to be having a guarantee of playing regular football? Who is the head coach? Those kind of factors all come to play. But I think the other disappointment for me that I'm seeing, most of our players, when they leave Ugandan league to go outside, majority of them don't succeed. Nelson Sekantuka should have been very far. After reaching the North Africa, you are closer, just so close to getting to Europe. And again, you make a U-turn from Morocco back to Uganda. I see that as a regress, not progress.
Now, if you look at 2017, of course, he was one of the key players you could be talking about. 2017-19 was the time that he had a very good run, and he scored around 36 goals for the team for that while. And now he went after 60 games. He's coming back to play. Do you think also the pedigree, everything that is coming is going to be the same?
Well, I don't think so, because you should be asking yourself, did he play regular football there? If it didn't, then for all this while, why is he coming back? Is he just coming back to rejuvenate his career so that he gets huge sign-on fee? Because at one point I thought he was going to play in Japan, because you remember when Keisuke Honda came, and there was that partnership between Bright Stars and some Japanese clubs. So I thought he would actually be playing in Japan, and that would have been a very good exposure for him. And but now coming back to Ugandan league, Nelson Sekantuka at one point was supposed to come to Onduparaka. I remember when he asked Per, how do you manage to stay in that village? And now I get to wonder.
Our city.
This is a city.
Yeah.
But because you've never come this side, you don't know what takes place here. He would have been the direct and the best replacement for Muhammad Shaban by then, but it didn't work out for him. So I think players as well get carried away so fast. You score 20 goals, maybe 17 goals. Then there's that excitement. Now this player is good, can score for us many goals. We can actually sell him. You remember the issue with Juma Balinya. Juma Balinya had been the top scorer. After they made a move, came back. Where is Juma Balinya by now? You really don't see much. So I think our players get outside when they're not really prepared. Our league here, you need consistency. Be in Ugandan Premier League for 3 seasons and consistently score goals in double figures, 15 and above. Then there, you can take a step. But I think they get out too soon.
And that's the reason why Mike Hillary Mutebi some time back said when he was asked, would you put Juma Balinya in your national team squad? He said no, because he feels he's not ready. He's not yet. It is just that he made the top scorer sheet, but of course he's not yet ready to play for the national team.
No, I remember that's a very interesting thing with Hillary Mutebi. He was asking, why is KCCA not performing? And for him, he's very open. You say, how can you expect this team to form when you bring the likes of Juma Balinya with the high profile, but they're not scoring goals? So I miss Mike Mutebi for those kind of controversies. I remember when Charles Lukwago got a red card here at Green Light. He said something that I cannot be at liberty to say. And said, but we are going to punish him. And he's very naive. He's one of those. I feel like I should just slap him and kick him out of the team. But all the same, that is football. He has a lot of emotions.
The league, that matters. I'm talking about the Uganda Premier League and Federation of Uganda Football Association. I came out saying a lot of things, and this time around, what Oscar does not believe in is the Uganda Cup, which is of course going on. And as I talk right now, the Uganda Cup yesterday went on, and team Police lost to Vipers by 2 goals, and Manzoki got 2 goals for that is Vipers Football Club to send them into the finals. And then of course, Bull will be playing against Express. 8 of the team will have to go and play against the team of Vipers in the finals. Express already out of the Champions League, and they will still come back and play. If they win again, they will be saying, okay, we'll maybe be in the Confederation, but URA is already there. Let's take a break. We'll be coming back to see that we get you into the international stories as a couple of things happen in the Carabao Cup or the EFL, and a couple of things are happening in the transfer world. And stay hooked to your TV.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back. It was a 6-0, of course, thrashing Manchester City, beating Wycombe, and of course Liverpool had a 3-0 against also, of course, Liverpool had a 3-0 in there to see that they progressed to the next level. But Leeds United with QPR, Everton and QPR had a draw, and then of course you did also see Leeds getting into the penalty shootouts and of course qualified in there. And now let's start with this. Takumi Minamino got his chances, got a brace for the team of Liverpool. Divock Origi was in that team. He also scored a goal. Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp said this is the beginning for the man Takumi Minamino. Do you see that coming true?
Well, one of the most talented players for me I've ever come across was Takumi Minamino. Before he made his switch to the Premier League with Liverpool, I remember by then Virgil van Dijk was unbeatable. You can't dribble past Virgil van Dijk. He was the first player in the UEFA Champions League to dribble past Virgil van Dijk. And I think that was the time when Jurgen Klopp knew that this is a player with potential. And I think the second player was Arsenal's biggest flop, that is Pepe, to dribble past. But Takumi Minamino is one of the most gifted players. I think the only thing happening to him is that that Liverpool team, it's hard for him to break into that team. And his loan spell at Southampton to me was by far better. He got the playing time, and he got that chance at least to play regularly. That to me has boosted his confidence. But again, I expected him again this time around to be a little because now with the sale of Xherdan Shaqiri to Olympique Lyon, Gini Wijnaldum, another flop that PSG bought to go to Paris. I thought he would be getting that time, literally, to play for Team Liverpool, to break into that team. But I think it's also increasingly becoming still hard for him. He still doesn't stop with that. I expected him just to be, this time around, to be his season. By the way, I've been asking myself, instead of Arsenal spending 50 million on a defender, why don't you tempt Liverpool to have to actually to buy Takumi Minamino? You could have actually put it 60. You bring both Divock Origi and Takumi Minamino into that team. Those are senior players who can actually do something for you. But you spend that money on a defender, on Ben White. To me, I say, and then you spend another 30 million on Martin Odegaard for me. But still, to me, I think by far one of the best players. This is his season. He has this season to prove himself. Takumi Minamino.
Liverpool had that 3-0 against Norwich City. Now Everton went to QPR. The game ended 2-2, but of course it ended in the penalty shootouts, where of course Everton again were ejected in this league already, and the man by the names of Tom Davies missed a penalty, but of course QPR converted all the penalties in the back of the net.
You see, when you're playing against teams that are literally not known, let's say Manchester City is going to be playing with a team that is down. That's why there was a moment under Roberto Mancini. It was Roberto Mancini's, Roberto Martinez's Wigan that beat Manchester City. You remember that that period? The point is, it is very difficult to play against a team you don't know anything about. That team will know you by name, will know you by the lineup, how your players are assembled. So they literally have a lot of time to practice for you. It is very hard to play against such teams. So likewise, when it gets to playing teams that you think these are smaller teams, but they always, that pride is let's beat this team so that we increase on our branding. Everyone will be asking about that. You remember how Reading, that's how I think they call it, not Reading. There was that team that broke. They had the likes of Steve Sidwell, they had the likes of Scott Parker in that team. They played a game against Chelsea. Remember when Chelsea had 2 goalkeepers injured in the same game before they forced John Terry to go and actually play. They had Carlo Cudicini, they had John Terry, he had injured in that very game. Those guys are prepared for Chelsea. So always those teams, where they're coming from smaller divisions, they always have that time to prepare.
Pep Guardiola behaves one typical Jose Felix Mourinho. Every team is a big team, and that's what he goes for. Now, yesterday, he fielded in key players into the team, though some young players got a chance to play also. Now, 6-1 was the scoreline for Manchester City, and of course, the likes of Ferran Torres, Riyad Mahrez all got into the score sheet, but he said, this is not yet enough. The boys didn't do enough. That is Pep Guardiola for you. Man City, where have you seen them go far? How far would they go?
Well, they are the defending champions. Pep Guardiola's mentality, I've also seen it with Mike Mutebi. Score as many goals as possible. You don't need to start relaxing because you've scored 6 goals. That is not what he wants. But I think it's a good motivating factor. As a coach on the touchline, you don't need to give your players confidence that you guys did enough. This is now enough. You're going to be giving the players to start thinking that we have really reached there. So make the players feel they have not reached somewhere. They still have a job to do. That's always what keeps players going.
We're wrapping up very soon, but of course, Fulham had a game with Leeds. It ended 0-0, but Leeds won in penalties. Watford lost to Stoke City by 3-1, and of course, team Preston North beat of course Carlton by 4-1, and the team of Burnley beat Rochdale by 4-1, and Brentford beat of course Oldham by 7 goals to nil. But in a summary, let's talk about the transfers moves maybe that is coming in the January. Manchester United are saying, of course, the man by the names of Martial, or Antonio Martial, is free to leave in the January transfer. And of course, Phil Jones is another name that they lined up in. But of course, they're trying to put contract extension for Fernandes, Paul Pogba, and Hessel Lindgaard, who are also in the contention. What has Martial been waiting for all this while after getting Cristiano Ronaldo, you have Jadon Sancho?
I honestly don't know. I think I share the same opinion. What has he been waiting for? You're seeing the addition of Jadon Sancho. That's a direct competition for you, because he plays both on the flanks and as a centre forward. You see Cristiano Ronaldo coming into the team, and you're not making a move. You think you're going to be having a chance. You're seeing
Cavani there. You see
Cavani is there. You see Mason Greenwood is there. But Daniel James, I think, had it ahead of time. I think he knew that he would not be having any chance actually to play. Tottenham Hotspur wanted him. I thought he should have made that switch to Spurs. That would have been a good thing for him.
Even Arsenal wanted him.
Arsenal could have actually been another good addition for him. They've always been wanting to find a person they could bring so that they could offload Alexander Lacazette for me. Look at even Aubameyang. Aubameyang is not performing. To me, I would think they need competitors in that very team. He would actually be a guaranteed starter if you are at Arsenal or even Spurs. I think that would be a plus for him. Sometimes I think players are caught in the middle of not making a decision and having that false confidence that I've been in this team, I can still fight for my position. That is very bad for a player's career. You need to always be having playing time. Whether in a big or small club doesn't matter, but the playing time and bettering your career is one of the most important things that could actually happen. Another player, and some other two players I keep asking about, what is Phil Jones coming to add in the team? What is he going to do there? If Eric Bailly, who by far I think is better than him, is still not having that playing time. I was also asking the same thing. What is Eric Bailly doing in United's team? Is it just he wants to play for the badge? Is it just because he wants to be in a big team? I don't think that is actually so good for a player's career. So these two players, I think it has been long overdue. They should have left early.
Few things to talk about. Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did confirm that, of course, the man by the name of Alex Telles is fit to start the games, and he will be starting against West Ham today, the game that will be played in the EFL or the Carabao Cup. But I want us to talk something little before wind up. Roberto Martinez has been lined up to replace Ronald Koeman. Would that be a very good move for Barcelona Football Club? And Arsenal are also open for, that is Ben Leno offer in January. So have they got also the right replacement, of course, Ramsdale in that team?
Not really, but you see, sometimes coaches want to assess players on the pitch. You might see it from outside, but sometimes there are a lot of things that happen. That's why I said if you want to know that a coach is good, go to the training ground. Which type of drills is he assembling? Are they good for players? Does it fit the type of philosophy? That is one of the things you need to know. And again, the player's attitude, the player's level of consistency, they are always judged in trainings. I think a player like Ben Leno could be too ambitious that also he thinks being a team Arsenal may not help him much to achieve what he wants. Or there could be some other things like even personal relationship with the manager that may not be going down well. Aaron Ramsdale may not be such a bad addition to the team, but you don't only want to rely on him. You need, for a team to continue, you need another senior player. I expect them to go for another big name to come and offer that competition. Let the two goalkeepers compete so that you can have the best. I remember Manuel Almunia and Jens Lehmann. They were two top quality goalkeepers. If you need somebody to come in, if not Jens Lehmann, you look at the other option. That's always a good thing for me. It creates a balance.
Okay, now today games will be on card in the Carabao Cup or the EFL, where you'll be seeing Brighton taking on Swansea, Arsenal will be welcoming Wembley, and Chelsea will be taking on Aston Villa at 15 minutes to 10, that is 9:45, and then at Manchester United also takes on West Ham at 9:45, and you have also Millwall against Leicester City as Wolverhampton Wanderers takes on Tottenham Hotspurs right there. In a summary, what is your conclusion?
Well, addition of Roberto Martinez, that thing also came before that Barcelona wanted Roberto Martinez. He's not equally a very bad coach, but again, when you're looking at Catalonia, you're looking at Barcelona, that's a team with a pedigree, and you should be looking at attracting a top level manager who has been at a top club and knows and can cope up with the pressure of being at a big club. When you know, like the likes of Ronald Koeman, being at teams like Southampton, being at teams like Everton, you can't compare them much to Team Barcelona. Maybe that's one of the reasons why it's taking them so long to adjust. So what would be the reason they want him? To start a rebuilding process or to pick over and have eminent result? Those are some of the critical things for me. Otherwise, It's been a wonderful time. We hope again to catch up tomorrow so that we can have a great moment.
Up next will be a lot of programs coming right on the show, of course on the TV, and I want to say stay right hooked, because one of the biggest thing is Arsenal is fighting so much to see that they want Luka Jovic, and Barcelona is wanting Antonio Martial. Stay tuned, and of course I want to say have a blessed day.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Amini mara na pwana pwani pigene la tona Dano Shaya Yan Pakwano Dano Yela Yana Kuyaru Dano Shaya Yan Pakwano Dano Yela Your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, tell me now the truth, Chwara, then I'm married. Tell me now the truth, one autumn, then again me. Baby, where I know you're so handsome. Baby, where I know you're so romantic. Chwinya, 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 urugani. Tibuna, 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 perogani. Your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy. Dano logo maduong wengi marani, anatika chumpi marani. Dano logo maduong wengi marani, atika kopi marani. Amini marana kuona, poni pigene la tona. Amini marana kuona, poni pigene la tona. Your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy, your love is killing me. Oh boy, this an emergency. Oh boy.
Metamarani, a good one music. Me getting visa in my records. I will look for Tikaneka and Kaipea no we are para. I know Kiniremo Kumampiera, Ikola Kipara, Ikaichebo Pilara, Mani Remchalo Kupera, Ikaichebo Pilara, Gini Remchalo Kupera, Labo Insuezi Kulala, no, Akuna Kupala, I will look for Tikaneka and Kaipea no we are para. I know Kiniremo Kumampiera, Ikola Kipara, Ikaichebo Pilara, Mani Remchalo Kupera. Meta marani, meta, meta, meta marani, meta, meta. boti mkwata tonta ulomkuma mama tiani mneta ulomkuma look me money tita ulomkuma nimepata mpenzi aje kutoka shuleni twende nyumbani nikuonyeshe papa ni mami my one and only wewe